Cruising is all about going to wonderful places and seeing beautiful beaches and hanging out with friends, right? There's no boat work involved, is there? Well, not quite so fast. Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast. Today I'm going to try to convince myself as I talk to you that hauling out is, yes, still part of cruising. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Marine Electronics Advisor, a service from SeaTech Systems. Get unlimited expert advice as you upgrade and maintain your boat's electronic and communication systems. Got questions about how to install your new AIS? Want to know if that on-sale radar will talk to your chart plotter? Hey, how do you configure this new Wi-Fi extender anyway? Are you embarking on a full electronics refit? The Marine Electronics Advisor has you covered. Use code BOATGALLEY for an exclusive $100 off your first month subscription. Visit ctech.systems/DIY to learn more. Marine Electronics Advisor, the ultimate subscription consulting service for the DIY boat owner. Watching the number of boats on AIS heading south is like watching ants go for the sweet treat that somehow got dropped by a kid. It's incredible. Every morning we'd wake up and leave from our anchorage and see the number of boats just heading south and heading south and heading south. And we had expected that we were going to be among the southbound cruisers. Well, at least that was our plan back in the spring before we put Calypso in the water and before we took her for her shakedown cruise. We had planned this winter to be heading south. And yes, we didn't get all the things done that we wanted to get done. And so even before we left for Maine, even though we never got to Maine, even before we left for New England this summer, we knew we were going to have to haul out this fall. Somehow, it feels like our cruise is over. And really, it's not. Because hauling out a boat is actually part of going cruising. Hear me out, because it sounds a little bit strange. Our shakedown cruise, the almost 3 months that we spent leaving from the Chesapeake Bay and going to New England and back down, was filled with new places and just a new appreciation for this wandering life of ours. And even though we knew we were going to have to haul out, somehow it feels like something is ending. And okay, everything's an ending of sorts, right? Even the end of the weekend is the start of the week, and the start of the week is the end of the weekend. And there's a Seismonic song called Closing Time that has lyrics to me that just nail this whole idea. It's every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. So why is it that we are so sad about coming back to haul out? It's not like this is a cruise that has a timeline, that has an end. Both of our extended cruises that we've done before this, that were really only temporary escapes from the more usual existence of cars and appointments and 9 to 5 of jobs and school, both of those previous extended cruises had defined endpoints. And I guess, therefore, a more urgent sense of destination. We needed to get somewhere beautiful as fast as we could so we could start enjoying our limited time. And okay, besides the fact that we needed to be enjoying instead of waiting to get somewhere to start enjoying as one of the problems with that statement. And the second thing that's kind of weird is to say a year or 3 years is limited time when probably for a lot of people, a 2-week vacation stretches as an eternity, really, in a lot of ways. But maybe that's cruising in a nutshell, is that time is more elastic in that way. And I will have to tell you that a boatyard is not a beautiful destination. Sure, we know that the first time we went cruising, the 3 years that we did in the early 90s, we did wind up hauling out to do a bottom job and a couple other projects when we were in Trinidad. But it was after 2 years of meandering around. Hauling out for boat projects is a part of cruising life. As cruisers, as people who are cruising, hauling out is part of that cruising experience and that cruising existence. We know this. And I don't know if it's that we're hauling in the same yard that we left from in July, that we're back in Deltaville when we really didn't think we were going to be in Deltaville again, or if it's that we're hauling again so soon after so long in the yard and so short a time, comparatively, cruising, or that we're talking about being out of the water for 5 months and not just a couple of weeks. But it's hard to shake the notion that the as long as it's fun cruise that we've been working towards forever, that it's over. Maybe it's that both of our previous cruises were followed by a prolonged period of boatyard storage, or not cruising. In the 90s, we hauled in York River for 3 years after we got to Virginia. And it took us until 2002 before we spent more than a single night aboard. After we got back with the kids in 2010, we didn't get out exploring with the boat for another 5 years. It's hard not to wonder, will this be the same? Just a short burst of sailing and then mothballs for ages? But I have to keep reminding myself that this is different. There's no limited time to this cruise. There's no rush to get to the destination that we have in mind. The work that we will do this winter, it's just another phase of the refit that we didn't quite finish up before we left in August. Hauling out is a part of active cruising life. Shall I say that again? Hauling out is a part of active cruising life. We've also realized that even though we take big projects with us when we go more actively, like sailing from place to place and dropping the anchor and exploring new spots, even though we take the stuff with us to do those projects, we never do. There's way too much more fun stuff to do. And yes, there are projects that we do on the boat, but those are little things. Those are things like touching up a paint chip or changing the oil on the engine or reprovisioning. Those kinds of things are just part of daily life. So in order to do those big projects, we need to haul out. And hauling out is a part of cruising life. Have you said it with me a few times? Can you tell that I'm trying to convince myself as I'm trying to convince you? It's true, though. Hauling out is a part of cruising life. And I just have to keep reminding myself of all of that. I can't wait to share an anchorage with you when neither one of us is in the boatyard, because it will mean that we're actively cruising in the way that's perhaps a little bit more fun. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. We love it when we hear from our listeners. We love it when you leave us a review. We love it when you share us with your friends. And please, don't forget to subscribe. There are 2 of these episodes every single week. Have the most spectacular one.